What is up, everybody? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Welcome to my quick guide on Class of Heroes 3 Remaster, going over what academy you should pick, the strengths and the weaknesses of each one, so that way you can get the start you want to get, and I'll explain the differences right now. So, let's go. We got the Draken Academy, so this is the easiest one, the easiest start you can have that the game wants you to go on. It kind of recommends it to you as a new player. Now, it's not bad. Middle of the game, you know, mid-game, early mid-game, it has a couple little spikes in difficulty, but other than that, it's not too bad. I do want to mention, before I go too much further, that every academy has its own progression, its own game playthrough. So about 80 to 90% of the game is determined by the academy you pick. The ending and like the final area are all kind of the same, you know, some parts of that, but your progression and the way the game plays out and the areas you go to and some of even the classes you have access to are determined by that academy. So this is an impactful choice. This isn't like, oh, you know, I just like the color blue or red or whatever, you know. Do keep in mind that it is going to impact how you play the game, which then encourages you to do 3 playthroughs of the game. So hopefully that will do that for you. So yeah, the Draken, they're good overall. They just have kind of a mid game that's a little bit harder, and you know, they're not the worst. They're good. The game recommends to start as them. If you want to start as them, you can. They're definitely not bad. I would say like they're the middle of the 3. Now, the Precania, if I'm even saying that, I don't, whatever. It doesn't even matter. These guys, the red guys, the Precania, they are probably the best one to start with, or at least the easiest. They got the best overall start because a couple reasons. One, they get access to a class that a lot of ones don't get access to early on, and that is a journalist. The journalist is basically your bestiary, and it allows you to ID monsters, find out their strengths, their weaknesses, their total hit points, their all that good stuff, and that can be very helpful. But also, they have a pretty straightforward early game and mid game, and they're nothing really too complicated. Their dungeons aren't too hard, and their class options are going to be what you want. And they have access to the Maid and Butler unique class, which I forgot to mention that about the Draken. The Draken have the Valkyrie or the Saint, you know, the male and female versions. So that's their unique class. I would say this is a good starting one, though. Either one of these two. The game recommends this. I think these guys are really good. Other people I've read online say similar things, so I would lean towards that. And the hardest one, the most difficult one, is the Takachiho College. Now, these guys get the Kunoichi and the Ninja, you know, as a unique class, which is a pretty good class, actually. It can kind of substitute your thief, I'm pretty sure, and do things that, you know, normally you'd have a thief do, so that's nice to have somebody else do that. This does have the hardest start. The beginning is pretty rough. You're going to need to be farming way more with this school than you would the other ones, especially. Like, the other ones, you might have to spend, like, you know, 20, 30 minutes farming an area. This one, you know, you might be double, triple that. And even then, there's just spikes in there that come through, like, randomly. You know, you'll go to an area, and there's one mob that just destroys you. The other ones are so easy. It's just a little inconsistent, but it also is harder. A lot of the dungeons are harder. So I would recommend avoid this one. I mean, if you want a challenge and you want to play it the hardest way, then definitely do this one. But if you're starting out one of these two, do keep in mind, like I said earlier, you want to do them all. I mean, if you want to get 100% completionist of the game and experience all the different areas, the dungeons, because like I said, they do have different paths they go through. About 80% of the game or so is unique to that academy, and then the other 10, 20%'s the same. So the ending, I think, is kind of the same for most of them, sort of. And there is no, like, storyline necessarily or anything, so you're not going to be getting any crazy story tidbits or nothing, but you just encounter different enemies, have access to different classes, go to different zones, you know, things like that. So, but the overall gameplay and stuff's going to be the same, you know, so don't expect, like, it's going to be a totally different game or anything based on those classes. So hopefully this video was helpful. It helps you make that beginner decision on which one to pick, which one's good. You know, you really can't go wrong, but I would avoid this unless you are the type of person that wants it really rough. I mean, the game's already a pretty challenging game to begin with, but you do you. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them down below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, later guys. Peace out. Have a good one.